Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here and to be part of your journey in some ways, sharing mine with you. It's certainly, I echo what Sir was saying. It's certainly not a linear path, whichever way you look at it. And I would say that the wisdom of it is not always known. And like Steve Jobs said in a famous speech, he said that we can only connect the dots afterwards and not looking ahead. So I'm originally Italian. Let me share a little bit of my story with you. I'm originally Italian. I grew up in Italy in a relatively small town. It felt really small to me. It felt really provincial. Everybody kind of thought the same way, dressed the same way, spoke the same way. And I've always felt there was a bigger world out there. And living in a smaller town gave me, I guess, a little bit of imagination about what was behind the horizon, and certainly the dream of living and exploring the world. I don't have too many memories of when I was little, but I remember climbing trees and exploring. Those were some of the things that I really enjoyed. And um, and friendships. I had some very good friends growing up, and this was a very important influence in my life. Still is very much an anchor for me, even if the friends have changed and I met many new ones over time. So the theme of exploration is always big for me. I chose a degree that felt available and quick enough to get me out of this little town as fast as possible. So I went to business to take a business degree. Back then in Italy, um, um, bachelor and master degree were kind of combined. One could not separate them. So I did this long degree, after which I took a job with a big company. And that company is General Electric, where I actually met Elam. We were colleagues in our time in London. I took the job at GE within an internship, kind of a management program. It wasn't an internship, it was one of these management programs where I could learn a lot and rotate several positions. And I also got to travel and live in the United States for a while, which I truly enjoyed. It was my first experience living out of Italy, and everything felt so huge and so overwhelming and so exciting. I lived in Atlanta, and then I took an internal consulting role in GE and traveled to a few other places. So quite an adventure. I would say one of my red threads is really that I follow the adventure more than a plan. Unfortunately, if I had followed the plan, my life would have been maybe different. I don't know. I don't regret anything, but I certainly follow adventure and curiosity. And that is taking me from the United States. I moved to London, which was one of my dreams growing up. I always had this myth of London and I wanted to be there. And so very much another thing that characterizes me is that my job kind of follows where I want to go. And so there's a sense of trust that I would like to bring in, that there is a wisdom that is around us. And sometimes when we lean into that, things happen. because we have set our intention clearly, and we open to possibilities. So for me, London was such a case. A position opened up with a boss I had worked with, and he invited me to take this finance job in London, where exactly I met Elam. So that's another maybe lesson, similar to what Zara said. The people you surround yourself with, the people you connect with, the ones that inspire you, the ones that mentor you, are such an important part of the journey, and really add a lot of richness. I wasn't satiated enough with traveling, and I wanted to go to Asia. So from London, I decided to apply for a position in Asia, and I was supposed to go there for a couple of years, and I ended up staying in Bangkok for 15. Back then, my partner also wanted to go to Asia, and so we went together. And so my Asian adventure started, still with G. So I've been with them in 3 continents. And at which point I decided my corporate career was kind of fading and winning away. So I decided to leave. I took a sabbatical and decided to do an executive MBA during that time, which led to become a partner in a startup, a co-founder, which was an incredibly exhausting path to take, at least in my experience, really getting things off the ground was really challenging. We did a lot of mistakes that we wouldn't do again. And all of that serves as a big lesson. So no matter how it ends, you're is still such a valuable lesson. For us, it ended pretty bad. We failed brutally after a few years. We lost everything. I went completely bankrupt. I started all over again from nothing, with 2 young kids, taking care of them. And yeah, it was quite an intense time. At which point, I started to manage another smaller company, private company, of which I became over time a shareholder, managed it through several rounds of transformations and corporate and organizational restructuring. And bit by bit, I transitioned out of that and started what is still today my occupation, my job, my passion, which is working with people, supporting people in their growth, in their becoming, in their exploring who they are and their impact in the world. So I now work as an executive coach, as a facilitator, as a learning designer. I have an organization that brings together people like me and business leaders who want to learn together and explore new ways of being in organizations. So many leadership paradigms are so outdated. So don't be afraid to be yourself, because there is really not one single model that works, and there is not one way of being a leader or a business person. So you may actually discover that by being yourself, this is one of my lessons, you are actually bringing things forward and inspiring others to explore different ways that may actually be kinder for the future, for the planet, for community. What do I enjoy most about my job is that I get to hear people's stories. I love stories. I think in every person's stories there's so much richness, so much beauty, so much to learn, to be inspired by, so much shared humanity. So listen to stories. Don't just listen to facts and data. Listen to the warm data that exist in a relationship to others. I would say another suggestion, if I may say, or an advice that sounds so big, is interpret your life and career not as a product. There is no way of perfecting it or optimizing it. It's a journey, and a journey can only be explored, can only be walked. And sometimes you take a turn that doesn't feel right. Well, it was a turn that brought unexpected things, at least. That's what I discovered. Enjoy your incompleteness. The moment you think you are complete, well, the journey is over. So explore your incompleteness, all the ways in which your incompleteness is a richness, and follow your intuition and passions. Let the energy drive you, because otherwise it gets really exhausting quite fast. I work with a lot of business leaders who are exhausted, overwhelmed, overburned out, and so follow your passion and try to stay joyful. So that's it from me.